Hey, Wyoming, silent majority. Welcome back to Leveled Writing. I'm Nos the Boss. Today, we're going to be enhancing discovering and inciting incidents. Let's jump into it. As um, this isn't like a question we're asking. This is something we're going to do. It's quite simple. Whoa, where did I type that? I had no idea my mouse was there. The word was expand. What else? Somebody put it's like that's the word I was looking for. Escalating. To escalate. That's one of the major things. So if like incidents for incidents and problems, escalate it. Escalate it. You need you want point A to point B, either follow a path or formula. Well, make an inciting incident. Then escalate it from there. So as an example, the inciting incident in um a story like, okay, I know there's gonna be a lot of flack in here for Balto, but it's quite the both the lore behind it, the actual lore behind the story, and the lore behind the movie, though decent, the original one at least, and the what do we call it? And the lore behind it is fascinating. But the point here is, imagine if instead, Togo and Balto, um, they don't fail exactly. Just you escalate it where, like, yeah, I'm saying that if you know anything about Balto, uh, escalating this scenario, uh, so I forget the name of the disease in that in the in the 1920s, but in this scenario, if this was to escalate and become dire, um, yeah, some of the kids would perish. Yeah, that. Or maybe instead, let's go a little more lighthearted, slightly more lighthearted. Um, lighthearted. Slightly more lighthearted. The loss and the loss of the medication and the retrieval of it in a last in a last moment. In a last moment as one of the children most in dire need is treated and cured effective immediately. And we have some like heartwarming scenes with The children. Children are the best for stories when you really want to get something. You want to get some tears in people's eyes. Get kids involved. Like put kids in peril. That's kind of like a core thing. Um, Now, if we can do this in a discovery way, if we continue to use Balto as an example, um, the inciting cure for the disease is discovered. It's discovered or in the process of being invented. We can have something like that be the case. And for another inciting incident, or maybe the discovery that the weather is even worse. Like imagine that it's like, oh, a blizzard, like it's a blizzard and then it's a slightly more harsher blizzard. Imagine being 8 times as harsher than it was in the lore of Balto, bleh. In Balto's original lore. Imagine if that blizzard was like 8 or 10 times as bad. And they still pressed on and or in the process of getting frostbite or whatever. I'll like shit happens. Weather is unpredictable, at least back then. Now we have technology for that, and we can like I think we can have planes that can survive that for the most part, as far as I'm aware. Now, if we can go out of the Balto series, we can get something else. Maybe the discovery of mana in subsequently the concept of magic in a modern in a modern setting, and adults adults god damn it adults and children are gaining magical or supernatural powers, and and um and we can escalate it to where it's like normal society thinks of this as a bad thing, but then everyone gets superpowers, or these people are like a slow, like show, like far off group, or maybe they're sick and they are getting sick as a result, and a doctor needs to be pulled up retirement and work on a cure or a suppressant. Hey, suppressant's a word. Nice. That's a oh, it's a result like that. Perfect. Like that's kind of the thing I'm working with here. For this phenomenal. And then we can escalate it further. Escalating this one further involves involves the illness or powers to become a nuisance, become a become too out there as a concept, become too much. I'm forgetting the word right now off the top of my head, but I should be getting when I'm coming across that. To evolve a discovery or an inciting incident, to evolve it means to escalate something quickly. So let's see what happens if we don't escalate it. Say not much happens. Or say this is a drop in a bucket compared to whatever political situation's in there. Well, then we have these superpowers running rampant. Or treated the superpowers in sickness running rampant. Or the idea here is that if it's not dealt with, then we kind of have this power dynamic, and it could lead to some, like, what do we call it? Like an impasse in a power situation. If we get, if this doesn't escalate, then eventually something needs to happen. Like, if you don't approach the issue, it's still going to be an issue. This is something that would be approached normally. If it's not approached, then why did you mention it? But then, if you wanted to escalate a problem, here's a good one. Let's say we escalate it. Let's escalate Deadman Wonderland. So, MC is being framed for a crime he didn't commit and is forced into Hunger Games. Great, we have that. So this was the escalation. He is framed. Whoever actually did whatever he's being committed for is, well, responsible for putting him in there. So if this wasn't escalated, so if he wasn't being framed, he probably would have been forced to watch it or be a participant regardless. So like we got this like tit for tat kind of scenario. So you kind of need to weigh where you're going. So let's see if we can escalate a scenario. So we're gonna be talking about one of my books, Howling Magic Dragon. The side character is not satisfied with the universal political system and seeks to disrupt it. And seeks to disrupt it by his own hands. This is a good one. This is a good start. The key here, the actual key here, is what he does, or what opportunity presented itself that he can execute this almost flawlessly. He deems it necessary to escalate it so the what do we call it? God, I forgot what we call our presidents. Presidents of most presidents of the planets. Planets can unite and fail to beat him. And thus he changes the rules. This is how you escalate a scenario. This is how you jump into the nth degree. Actually follow through with a plan. So for me, how I did this, well, this was obvious. This was in the planning stages for years for the side character. Now you're probably saying, this guy's a side character? Well, yeah, he's the side character compared to the actual protagonist, who might as well be the side character until we find out, oh crap, this guy's actually the main character. And how he takes the reins and does everything. It's kind of sick. But read it in the description below. I have it linked to my Wattpad. I have to expand on it though, but other than that, it's pretty damn good. Pretty much done. He deems it necessary to escalate it. So the presidents of the planets unite and fail to beat him, and thus he changes the rules. And that's kind of how this is how we escalate it. Depending on what story and elements you have at play here, escalate as you see fit. But then, if your story requires for a big change, escalate to an nth degree. You have my full permission. Not like you need my permission. Escalate. Absolutely escalate. It's rich. I love me a good escalation. But I love it when the escalation has like a big payoff. So in Balto, the escalation is that the kids are dying and the weather's crap, but they persevere and thus nobody dies. In fact, in the original lore, nobody died, which is pretty sick. So you don't need to jump into the nth degree like that, but since the scenario presented itself that way, that's kind of like the nth degree in that of itself. Crap conditions, a bad case of suffocation, and a journey that meets 2,000 miles. Nothing, absolutely nothing, like stop these guys to get the medicine from point A to point B in a timely manner, and no one died, especially in these crap conditions. And if you jump into 3 more, You'd have dying kids. I'm sorry. That's sad if you escalate that even further. But humanity perseveres almost all the time. Almost. Um, there's that. So this is how we're gonna be escalating our scenarios. You gotta choose when to pull the throttle. For me, this story was so simple to write. It was quick. I'm trying to expand it to like 24 chapters. Give a chapter each to each planet, maybe. I don't know. But other than that, I'm gonna call it here. This has actually been quite fun. Tomorrow's episode is might be different. I'm not 100% certain. I do this by a day basis. So, yeah. Till next time. Okay. Ciao.